Good morning and welcome. This is John Fowkes from Softcat, and together this morning with Kevin Ingray from Quantic, Kevin and I will be detailing Microsoft's Dynamics 365 Customer Engagement plan, so their CRM platform, cloud CRM platform, in terms of specific capabilities within that platform, and also in terms of what we're expecting in terms of latest releases. So there's been the October release as of this month, so we are seeing and expect to see some new features filtering through into the platform, and collectively hope to give you a view in terms of what those features look like and how you might utilise them as a Dynamics customer. Kevin is Senior Solutions Consultant at Quantic. Quantic are a lead partner from Softcat, working with Softcat. So what that means is absolute safe pair of hands. Quantic are our number one go-to partner with respect to Dynamics. And Kevin, in terms of your history and expertise, I know you've worked on both the delivery team, the delivery side of the business at Quantic, and now within pre-sales. If you want to just
has joined the meeting.
A quick intro and say hello.
Yep, sure. So thanks for that introduction. So my name's Kevin Ingray. I'm a Senior Solutions Consultant from Quantic, which is a technical pre-sales resource. But previously to that, I was a Solution Architect in the Quantic delivery team for the customer engagement side of things. So your classic CRM capabilities of sales, customer services, and some of the newer features that we'll talk about today.
Very good. Thanks, Kevin. So for my contribution here within the webinar, so I sit within the licensing team, Microsoft licensing team here at Softcat. So my expertise is around licensing commercials, which we will be covering towards the end of the webinar. We've got a 45-minute slot to deliver. We will open up. There should be a dialog box that opens up through the WebEx, through the WebEx panel, and we do encourage any questions through the course of the webinar. Please feel free, and between Kevin and I, we'll do our best to field and answer those questions on the fly. We're hoping for a few minutes at the end, within the 45 minutes, perhaps 5 minutes to the end, to actually open it up for questions. But in terms of what's next, I'll be handing over to Kevin, who's really the brains here in terms of technical expertise. So, Kevin, without further ado, over to you, please.
Okay, thanks for that, John. Right, so going through our slide deck here today, we're going to be taking a look at the customer engagement side of things in the Microsoft Dynamics 365 application, and having a good overview of all the applications in there. So stuff like sales, customer services, field service, project service automation, and marketing. And we'll also take a look at what's coming in the October 2018 release. So Dynamics 365 Business Applications is a bit of a background slide here on what and how Dynamics 365 came about. So you may have been aware of the CRM applications and the ERP side of things, so items like Nav and the AX product. So Dynamics 365 sort of merged those two worlds together to build one single platform for effectively all of your business application needs. So in that, Dynamics 365 has applications for sales, so looking at your customer pipeline, and field service, managing your field mobility in terms of having to fix issues out in the real world effectively. Customer services, to manage your customer queries and any case-related activity. Project service automation, which is the Microsoft sort of project application built into Dynamics, and gives you capabilities around the sales side of things to see how and what resources you might need to fulfill a project. And alongside that, we have stuff like the finance and operations piece, which there will be a webinar from one of my colleagues in the next few weeks regarding those side of things, including a look at the retail and the full finance and operations capabilities.
Actually, Kevin, just to give that a plug, that's actually next Tuesday. So we have got a similar session again, co-delivered with Quantic. where we're looking at the unified operations aspects, so the traditional ERP side of the platform. So today we're, as Kevin said, focused on CRM, customer engagement, as Microsoft now sends that. Next week, and please do register. It's available through the Softcat website to register. We've got registrations already, but any customers out there who are interested in those ERP operations features, we are covering that in a week's time next Tuesday. Sorry, Kevin, back to you.
Thanks, John. So yeah, just on that front, obviously Dynamics 365 is an entire platform for pretty much all of your business needs, and it has modules in it as well. So marketing, which we'll take a look at, and Dynamics 365 for talent for some of your more HR requirements around how to attract and onboard good new talent into your business. Surrounding the application, you've got lots of platforms and pieces that interlink and interwoven with these applications to build out that one ecosystem of business applications for your business. So stuff like Power BI, Microsoft Business Intelligence platform, that lets you see graphical data and analysis around what's going on in your world. And that can use data from any source, but key example, taking data from Dynamics. Power Apps, which is Microsoft's mobile application platform that lets you build applications for any particular need, and we'll come on to those again later. Microsoft Flow, Microsoft's workflow engine that you can use to perform actions and flows around how data can move from one system to another or perform an action based on something that happens. And the Common Data Service, which links all of the applications in the Dynamics 365 suite using a common data model, meaning stuff like accounts and contacts in the sales side of the application are similar and have shared data with stuff in the finance and operations space. Dynamics 365 services. So this is just a few slides on Quantic and what we do in terms of services and implementation capabilities around the Dynamics platform. So standard sort of stuff that we do is implementation services. So we help you get started with Dynamics and your journey through any of those products. But we also have some key capabilities around managed services. So if you have a Dynamics implementation, we can help support and manage that for you. But Quantic also has lots of capabilities and significant experience in stuff like project recovery. Now, project recovery is an interesting one because we get involved in projects where it might have had a slow start and not going quite where it needs to be, but we've got lots of experience in resurrecting and building great projects that have had a sort of false start. Support services. So we mentioned obviously our managed service capabilities. We have a very, very simple model for this. You call us and we will solve your issue. There's no long-term commitment, so you don't have to buy in for X amount of years to get a preferential price. We just have a monthly retainer fee, and then that secures your access to our experts. And then we can have pay-as-you-go per incident capabilities if you needed some more assurance and a larger more when you pick up the phone call, we just deal with it. We can have those capabilities in our support services too. So now moving on to the actual applications themselves, we'll start taking a look at Dynamics 365 Sales. This is Microsoft's CRM capability in old money terms, but it's been badged as a sales application. It does just more than the contact management and relationship side of things. It helps you expose an awful lot more around what's going on in terms of your business. So sales has the capability straight out of the box dashboards, so you can see a holistic business-wide view of all of what's going on in your world. Capabilities such as opportunity pipeline, so how business is coming into us and how we can then manage and transact that business going forward. So we can see stuff like our sales pipeline of what opportunities we have, the value of them, and what they mean to us. We can also track where our leads and our opportunities are coming from. So lots of good ways of seeing more information around the data that flows into the business. Underpinning this is the business process flows. Now, this is the best capability in the sales piece because it gives you a nice stage-driven order and process capability that you'll see in one of the screenshots. Basically says, how do I take this lead and how do I make this an opportunity? And what steps do I need to do in order to move that through the process? And this can be completely tailored to you and your organization. So if you have a particular way of running sales or information that you need to gather, you can put those as part of a business process flow to drive your sales team to perform as a sort of similar function. And on top of that, we have classic activity management. So tracking and keeping on top of your engagements with your customers. So maybe you sent an email, that can all be tracked into Dynamics natively from the application or from clients such as Outlook. You can also track information such as appointments or scheduled calls and activity based around your sales capability. As mentioned, we have integration with Office 365, so we can see our information that's coming in from Dynamics in our applications like Outlook. So we can see when we've had an email from a customer, we can see that that contact is already listed in our Dynamics system, and we can see that they've got open cases or open opportunities with us. Native application integration for Outlook. So we have web-based application. So if you're using webmail for your business, you can also still integrate that with Dynamics. Same if you're using the main clients. So it has a very similar experience across however you consume your email capabilities. And sales is backed up by a security role-based permission capability, which means that you can see and do and interact with your data only if you have the permission to do so or the right security role to do it. Now, obviously, this means in the world that we live in, GDPR is obviously a very big, important subject, and we have the ability to be compliant and helpful in processing content and management of personal data. So we can have flags like, how do we contact people from our sales organization? Relationship sales. So relationship sales is an element of the sales capability that basically tells you and uses capabilities from the Microsoft Dynamics platform to tell you what's going on with your opportunities and what's happening in your world. So it can tell you stuff like your colleague has an introduction of a potential business that you might be looking at or might be looking to secure work with. You also have stuff like when an email comes in from a prospect, it will flag it up in Dynamics and say, you've got a new email from this prospect, and helps you prioritize your workload. And as mentioned, we have an impending update in the Microsoft Dynamics 365 world called the October 2018 release. So Dynamics has twice yearly major upgrades that bring significant new functionality and in some cases new applications into our world. So what's coming in the October 2018 release? We have one new platform, which is called Dynamics 365 AI for Sales, which gives us artificial intelligence-based capabilities around our sales data. So we can see stuff like, based off of history of opportunities, this opportunity has a percentage likelihood to transact based on what we've seen before. And it can tell you details around that. So perhaps opportunities in your business are generally won if you have more activity with the customer or more face-to-face time or more emails. Dynamics 365 AI for Sales can use that data to help you predict and analyze your pipeline and how you might transact in the future. Enhanced sales tools. So we actually have some new features in the sort of core sales application as well. The key one being Who Knows Whom, which is a tool that lets you see and lets you understand if any of your colleagues or contacts know a potential prospect. So you might have dealt with somebody who has previously worked at another organization and they've moved on, but one of your colleagues who sold to them in the past might have a connection to them. So you will have tools that show you if any of your colleagues or anybody in the system knows somebody else who might be helpful when in terms of an introduction. We also have the concept of talking points. Talking points lets you know and looks at data that has happened in your sales application. So you might have had an email correspondence with a prospective client. That client has then told you that they're about to go on holiday for 2 weeks. Talking points will raise up and say, when that customer's back, perhaps you might want to mention that they've been on holiday. So you can use it as an icebreaker to help you better speak with your customers and tailor your performance to them. And the other main key feature in the sales application that's coming is the concept of playbooks. Playbooks have the ability to be really, really interesting because they let us provide automation and repeatable sales activity based on something that happens in the system. A good example here is when somebody leaves your organization who was a member of the sales team. What typically happens is they drop all of their opportunities and their leads, and then you have to scrabble around and try and reorganize and get them assigned to new salespeople. What we can do is when somebody leaves, we can initiate a playbook that basically says, do these following tasks. So firstly, reassign all of their leads and opportunities. Secondly, create an appointment or a note for the new account manager or the new salesperson to get in contact with the key contacts at the organizations that they're working with. And finally, we have Microsoft Teams integration. So we are able to integrate with the Microsoft Teams product to enable your sales team to discuss and work opportunities in a collaborative manner. So we actually can discuss a prospect and say, when a team is created for a particular opportunity, hey guys, in my sales team, I'm working with a potential customer. Does anybody have any sales collateral I can use? And you can have that integrated into your Dynamics 365 application. Dynamics 365 for Customer Service is the next application in the suite. And what it offers us is, again, customer service dashboards that help us stay on top of what is happening in our customer service world. So we might have a help desk that we run for customers to let them tell us when there's a problem. Now we can use that to help manage our workflow and our cases around what is going on. So we have customer service dashboards that show our agents and supervisors what cases they're working on and where they are at in the stage of their life cycle. Case management capabilities give us the business process flow capability, so we can track and manage the life cycle of a case. So what happens when we triage it, when it first comes in, through to actually trying to work through and find a solution and ultimately closing out the case. And we have a full life cycle of that process. Underpinning this is the capability of knowledge base articles. So we can flag and create knowledge base articles to help do rinse and repeat activity regarding our cases. So maybe a customer's called up saying that they can't log into a particular application that you sell or run. We can have a knowledge base article that we can send to them that says, basically, this is how you log in. And knowledge base articles can be published to the Dynamics 365 portal, for instance, so you can let your customers self-serve. Underpinning the customer service capability is a concept of service level agreements, which gives us a way of tracking key performance indicators around our customer service capability. So it could be that we have a service level agreement on how long it takes us to respond to a query, or alternatively, how long it takes us to resolve one. And we can see the metrics around how successful we are in terms of that SLA. We live in a world where customer service cases can come in from any sort of angle. So with the rise of Twitter and social media, it's not just email or telephone calls that come into the help desk these days. So we have the ability to be omni-channel in our approach. So we can have integrations and data coming in from, say, email or from telephones or from web chat. And ultimately, we can then integrate that with the Azure services to do stuff like chatbots. This allows us to consume data into Dynamics from whatever channel our potential customers or people that have customer service queries are happy with. And finally, we have the concept of D365 portals that I mentioned earlier. They give you the ability to self-serve, and we can push and publish data to our customers around what queries that they might have, and we can then let them self-serve, or even in some cases, let them submit cases to us via the portal if they can't find what they're looking for. So what's coming in the 2018 October release for customer services? So we get some new engagement channels, and these are really, really interesting for us. We have a full integrated live chat that will be coming. that lets us embed a chat functionality into our website that natively integrates into Dynamics. Subsequently, we also get an SMS channel, so we can actually take and field case management queries via a text message platform. Alongside that, we have the concept of unified routing, which allows us to automate routing of work items from different channels to different people based on availability and skills. So it might be that we have a query that comes in from a social media function and channel, and that we actually have a specialist team who deals specifically with those. So when it comes in from that channel, we can push it to the correct team to deal with. And finally, we have an improved agent and supervisor experience, so we can see all of the critical information regarding a customer and the agent experience. So how are we doing, what metrics are we hitting, and how are we helping our supervisors perform their role. Dynamics 365 Field Service is the next application we're going to look at. So Field Service gives us the capability of seeing resources and work orders for remote dealing with issues. So key scenario for this is whenever you have a field-based engineer or function that needs to go out and resolve issues in the field, Field Service can be utilized to help there. It has a full resource and skill capability, so we can have the right people with the right roles for the right job. So, for instance, sending out an electrical engineer for an issue that involves electrics, rather than, say, sending a boiler engineer. Underpinning this is the concept of a work order, so we have all the details regarding a work order to book the right resources and deploy them to the field. We can see this on a schedule board view, so we can see across all of our resources, their capabilities, and their actual bookings in terms of work orders. And we can also see this on a geographical map, utilizing the Bing Maps capabilities to see where our work orders are and where our resources are in terms of going to those work orders. Enhancing the field service capability is the concept of Internet of Things, which is the capability for devices in remote locations to send telemetry data to us that we can do and utilize in Dynamics to perform functions. So you could be that you have an electrical unit out to the customer site, and using an IoT enabled device, it could send telemetry data saying actually the temperature of the unit's getting really warm. Perhaps something's going wrong here, and we can use this to predict and perform preventative maintenance orders. That lets us send someone out ahead of an issue becoming an actual issue because it's flagged and said it's exceeding a safe limit. And finally, Dynamics 365 Field Service has a mobile application for your engineers to actually see where they're going and be able to perform their functions. And that field engineering application sends data back saying, I'm en route to my job. I'm actually at the job site and I've actually completed my work, and all of that updates live Dynamics data so that your scheduling people can actually see where resources are and how they get it done. So what's coming in the October 2018 release for Field Service? We get the concept of multi-resource scheduling. So previously, if you had a resource, they had to be one resource to do one job. We now have the capability of multiple people being able to perform out a specific set of tasks relating to a work order. So you might have a work order where somebody has to go and fix an issue, but they find out that actually there's some electrical problems whilst they're there, and you can send another resource along to help them out with that one particular work order. We have now integration into the Azure IoT Central platform for a single view of all Internet of Things telemetry, and the integration with that into D365 is really, really good. It uses the Microsoft Flow capability to send data back into Dynamics that we can then use to create work orders automatically based off of if a telemetry data hits us and exceeds or a limit that we've proposed. And we have some field service mobile improvements, so such as background location sharing, so we can see whereabouts our engineers are, but also has the ability to do push notifications. So you can do stuff like if a engineer is coming close to being on site, we can send a notification saying, don't forget to put on your steel toe cap boots before you get on site. Or when they've finished a work order, make sure to get the customer signature. Dynamics 365 for Project Service Automation is an application in the Dynamics suite that basically gives us project management capabilities. That's really useful to us because we can start doing that at the opportunity stage of a sale. So when we're trying to sell or perform an opportunity that has service functionality, so I might be selling services like Quantic do, which is IT-based services, we can start planning that out as part of the sales capability. So putting together a resource profile that might be used in this opportunity. Then when that opportunity potentially transacts, we have an already a good understanding of what the team might look like to actually perform that service or that project. And it does this by giving us project management capabilities. So utilizing some of the stuff that we saw in field service around resources and skills, we can actually book and manage projects in Dynamics. And it has a full work breakdown structure capability. So stuff where you can see exactly line item level detail of what's going on and who's performing that function as part of that project. And in line with the sales capability, we can actually start forecasting. So we can see our resource utilization and capacity ahead of time and being able to work out that we've got 10 projects, for instance, and actually we need to put out some new job roles because we will not have the capacity to fulfill those projects currently, given what we have as part of our team. And alongside the project management capability, it has full time and expenses capabilities in the system. So you can see stuff like I'm booked on a project and I'm actually going to submit some timesheets for that project. And actually I've got a few expenses job lines that I need to log with the system as well. So what's coming in the October 2018 release? We have improvements to improve time and expenses and journal lines. So basically you can now, when a job line is approved, you can actually modify it if needed. So something happens and you need to actually change an approved time because something was forgotten. You have that capability now. Or alternatively, you actually put an expense job line in and got the prices wrong or the receipt was unable to be captured. So you've got abilities to approve and edit job items and job expenses that have already been approved. Now, the next one's quite a big one for PSA. You have the ability of unit-aware expense categories. Now, this is a great way of putting subcontractor prices into your projects. So currently what you do is you'd have contacts for your subcontractors and you'd have to add them in as a sort of project resource. What this unit-aware expense category does says, actually, we've got a fixed price job line here that's going to take 20 days for a contractor to do certain elements of it. So you have a nice category that you can use for managing subcontractors as part of your project. And we also get access to the unified interface. So Dynamics 365 has had a unified interface change. So the way in which you consume Dynamics and the interface that it shows you would have changed from potentially what you've seen in the past. It's now much more user-friendly and responsive and in line across any sort of application or way in which you consume Dynamics. So if you use a mobile screen and go to your Dynamics implementation, it will look very similar, just a scaled down version of what you'd see on a desktop. Dynamics 365 for Marketing was the latest application that actually came out in the spring release in 2018. And it gives us capabilities that we've not had in the Dynamics platform from Microsoft previously. So it's given us capabilities around marketing automation. Previously, this would have been done by third-party systems, such as ClickDimensions or Adobe Campaign. So some of the core capabilities here, these slides are going to be a bit more in-depth than the other ones because there's so much new technology here that you may not be aware of. So customer journeys are our campaign orchestration tool using a drag and drop interface to manage our customer journeys. Now, customer journeys have the concept of toolbox capabilities, so you can put stuff in there like, I want to send an email to a particular group of customers, or I'd like to invite a particular group of customers to an event, and then after that event, send them an email. It gives you the ability to target a particular group, perform an action, and then control the flow of the journey. So we can do stuff like customer-specific branching in our customer journeys. So we could have a email that goes out to customers inviting them to an event. If a customer registers for that event, we can send them a different email to if they didn't register. Or alternatively, another good example would be if a customer registers for an event and actually attends the event, we send them an email saying, thanks for coming. Here's a potential discount coupon because you came to our event. For people that registered but didn't actually attend, we could send them an email that says, thanks, but we didn't get to see you this time, so maybe you want to come along to our next event. You have the way of making the journeys specific and variable based on inputs from your users. Email marketing. So Dynamics 365 Marketing has full email capabilities. Again, using a drag and drop interface lets you build out highly customized and very pretty email campaigns, so you can send and create your emails specific for customers. It has a templated system, so you can see and rebuild and repurpose emails if they were good and use them across your team again. And it has the ability to be contextual, so you can use the data from Dynamics to actually personalize your email. So instead of saying hi, we can do hi Kevin using the contact record details from Dynamics to actually personalize our email. Under the hood, it's completely HTML driven, so you've actually got all marketing emails with a visual inbox preview, so you can see how it looks like actually in reality. And if you use any third parties who do your marketing email designs for you, they can publish it as HTML and embed that into Dynamics for you. Segmentation and lead scoring is another key feature of the D365 marketing platform. So we can segment customers or prospects based on data from Dynamics. So it could be that we want a group of people that have previously come to an event or have purchased a particular product set from us. We can use the data from Dynamics to actually segment them and build out these groupings using the data. It has full website integration, so you can actually embed a piece of JavaScript code from D365 Marketing into your website that will track lead activity and relate it back to the records in Dynamics. So we can actually start tracking user access via cookies to see what web pages have been accessed and where people have been on our website prior to signing up as a lead with us. We can then use that with lead scoring models to actually determine and value and rank the participation and promote a particular person or lead as being sales ready. We can do this by giving point-based scoring for interaction that the potential customer or lead has done. So for instance, they might have been on our website and looked at a particular product page. We can give them a plus ranking for that. And then when they submit their details to us via a lead entry form, we can say, actually, that person has been on this website a few times, looked at different pages, downloaded some collateral. They have a really good score. Let's mark them as sales ready. Then that lead can go to your sales team who can actually action it quickly and effectively based off of the lead scoring model and the score that that particular lead has had. Now, where Dynamics 365 for marketing actually sets itself apart from lots of different platforms is it has an entire event management capability built into it. So you can actually track stuff like customer events. So if you do any events that you run for customers, it can be all managed in Dynamics 365. And it can also do webinars like this. So for instance, we could manage the actual attendance and the registrations via D365 for marketing. And it does that and lets you track stuff like locations and facilities, so the physical locations and layouts of your event, but it also gives you badges and attendance records for customers. And it uses QR codes that are unique to the individual and the event that when scanned will update the attendance record. Utilizing another element of Dynamics 365 platform, we can actually integrate and use voice of the customer surveys to query our attendees. So voice of the customer surveys let you do stuff like SurveyMonkey style surveys that track customer satisfaction scores, net promoter scores. So you can actually see how good your event was and get feedback from your customers straight from Dynamics and back against their contact record. So what's coming in the October 2018 release? So we actually get integration with the social engagement platform from Microsoft in a lot more in-depth capability, so we can run and track our social sentiment regarding our social media engagements. So we can see stuff like key influencers, key phrase detection, sentiment regarding what we're doing in terms of marketing function. We have a full marketing calendar now, so a mobile-friendly, responsive calendar to see and show what is happening in terms of marketing. So it could show you stuff like we've got these webinars planned. This customer journey goes live on this date. We're actually running a very short-scale sale at this point. All of that will be shown on the marketing calendar. And we have deeper LinkedIn integration. So it has LinkedIn Sales Navigator and lead generation form integration. That's just going to get a bit more fluent and an awful lot more close to the platform in the next release. Power Apps and Microsoft Flow. So this, we've only got one slide here because this is a webinar in itself effectively, but I'll take you through what the sort of core capabilities of these two products are. So Power Apps, you have two sort of main style capabilities here. So Power Apps are Microsoft's product for building out mobile applications for business use. It gives you a nice, easy framework and drag and drop capabilities to build low-code designs around a particular requirement. So it could be stuff that I've seen and we've personally built, things like a system that lets people who have entered your building say that they're here, and it will do stuff like send emails to the correct people. But there's also lots of applications here. It's Microsoft's framework for building an application for yourself, and it can use data from Dynamics or other Microsoft platforms to enhance that. They have two styles of apps. So model-driven apps, which lets you sort of build small containerized CRM-style applications, and then you also have Canvas apps. Canvas apps let you build out sort of bespoke, unique model and business application services in the product. Now it utilizes Microsoft Flow, the workflow engine from Microsoft, to actually perform trigger and action-based scenarios. So you might have a Power App that you use as a form entry for leads when you go to an event, for instance. So you might take an iPad with you that has a Power App that says, give us your details, and it will create you as a lead in Dynamics. We could use a flow off the back of that to actually create an appointment for one of our sales team to actually get in contact with them following that successful entry of a lead form. So that was Microsoft Power Apps and Flow. Just going on to our next slides, we'll be looking at D365 licensing in a bit more detail, including how you license particular apps and the customer engagement plan in more detail.
Great stuff. Thanks, Kevin. So yeah, if we can just move on to the licensing, and how do we buy this stuff? How do we license this? So in terms of the structure, Microsoft essentially for Dynamics structures into the individual apps that we've seen here from Kevin in terms of the various aspects of functionality. So sales, field service, customer service, project service automation and marketing are the discrete applications as well as Power Apps and Flow that sit underneath the plan. So in terms of cost effectiveness, in terms of how to buy, as soon as you need more than one app, it's more cost effective to buy the customer engagement plan. If you are looking to also utilize Microsoft's operations, ERP, so the full range of the Dynamics platform, and there is at the top of the screen there the overarching Dynamics 365 plan that gives you everything essentially. But if we just focus on the left-hand side here, customer engagement and those discrete applications that fall underneath, The pricing that I've given here is just current RRP, October 2018 ex that RRP pricing, and it's given there really just to give a benchmark and the relative costs of the individual applications versus the plan. One key thing to note in terms of the customer engagement plan, it is tiered. There are 5 tiers depending on the number of users being licensed. So those 5 tiers range from 1 to 99 users to over 1,000 users. So the customer engagement plan typically becomes the most cost-effective way to buy unless you have got discrete users who are just doing very specific aspects of CRM, or indeed have got light usage requirements and just reporting or data viewing type activities, and that's the team members license that sits at the bottom. So anybody licensed for team members actually has a view across the whole platform. So team members across both the CRM aspect, the left-hand side of the slide, as well as the unified operations plan. But typically we'll see a mix of customer engagement plan and team members depending on user requirements, and user profile, and what activities users are essentially doing. So certainly in terms of how to work out what you need to license, this is where we'll help. And together with Quantic, looking at that kind of user profiling, looking at what users use and whether that falls into a specific app or indeed the plan to make sure you're licensing in the most cost-effective way. The marketing application is licensed per organisation, so there's no requirement to license particular users. It is an organisation-wide application for marketing. The most cost-effective way to get that is to buy the customer engagement plan. So with a purchase of 10 customer engagement plan licenses, or indeed the Dynamics 365 overarching plan, 10 of those gets you entitlement to 2,000 contacts to engage with using the marketing application that Kevin kindly ran through. So over and above those 2,000, you can buy additional contacts over and above if needed, but that's the most cost-effective way to do that. In terms of project service automation, just calling that out specifically, you get there, as Kevin mentioned, there is entitlement to the Project Online Premium, so the top tier Project Online user subscription license is actually included within the Project Service Automation application. That as a standalone subscription is typically £40–41. So there's added value there in terms of what's included, and actually team members licensed users will get the Online Essentials, Project Online Essentials license again included within that £6 team members license. Device licenses are available for the individual apps, sales, field service, customer service. We don't tend to see device licenses sold, but there are clearly some specific customer scenarios where device licensing is going to be preferable over use licensing. And in terms of the tiering, so that's only at the plan level that you get that tiering. So you can see that there's a range of between £45 per user per month to £86 per user per month, based on the number of users. So very quickly, you can cost justify the customer engagement plan. Customer engagement plan includes one production instance, also one non-production instance, and one portal license is included. You can buy additional instances if required, both for production, non-production, and portal, but those are included, the one of each included within the plan license. 10 gigabytes of storage, and that's Kevin, I know it's increasing in terms of the storage allocation within the platform. I think when I last checked, it's 10 gigabytes of storage per tenant, and then 5 gigs for every 24 users that are licensed either with apps or plans. Power Apps 2 is included within the customer engagement plan, and Flow, as you see. And I think, as Kevin said, that's a whole other session in itself, I think, because there's some very keen and effective ways that you can integrate line of business applications, third-party data, and tie this all together using the Dynamics platform as an underpinning, and actually then using Flow to integrate next actions and workflow actions off the back of what happens within the Dynamics platform. I think that's it from a licensing point of view. Only suffice to say, customers with planning services days, so software assurance benefits, I appreciate it won't necessarily apply to every customer on the call here today, but certainly for our enterprise agreement customers, anybody with planning services days can utilise those planning services days working with Quantic to plan either a new deployment of Dynamics or perhaps a migration. I appreciate there'll be a lot of customers who are looking to migrate from older versions of Dynamics onto cloud. One aspect actually worth calling out in terms of the licensing is that the cloud licensing that I'm talking about here does include dual use rights. So customers who want to license the cloud but are still running on-prem or a hybrid environment, the CAL entitlements are included both at an app level and also at a plan level to allow that user to access and be licensed to access an on-prem CRM server. With that, I think, Kevin, unless there's anything to add from your perspective, if there are any questions, please fire away. We're happy to take field questions through the chat dialog box.
Yep, the only thing from me is if you did want to talk a bit more about Dynamics, to get in contact with your Softcat Account Manager, and they'll be able to arrange a call or a demo with myself. So something just to mention there.
Yeah, and I think we have a question here. As Customer Success Manager going out to see our enterprise agreement base regularly, so this is, I think, Sophie internally within the Microsoft team as CSM. I get a lot of questions about how they migrate from on-prem to cloud. What would you advise? I think, firstly, it's engaging with Quantic, isn't it, Kevin? I'd suggest.
Yeah, so one of the services that we offer and have got a lot of history doing is basically this is what we've got in terms of Dynamics today. How do we actually get from an on-premise world to the cloud, and the reasons and benefits for doing so. So Dynamics 365 typically has an online first release cadence. So you get an awful lot more features and going and being hosted by Microsoft. So working with a partner like Quantic can help in managing and working through how to do that. So you can contact your Softcat Account Manager and we can have a discussion around how that's possible. But there are lots of questions typically in doing that, but we've got an awful lot of experience of delivering those services.
Yeah, fantastic. So I think I appreciate we're a little over time, but unless there are any other questions, do fire away very quickly. But I think absolutely, as Kevin and I are saying, call to action here from a customer perspective. If you need to dive into this in any more detail, talk about your own requirements, your own specific scenarios, then absolutely between Softcat and Quantic, we're on hand to help. But I think, for example, any particular demos, as Kevin's offered, would be really valuable. Just some specific review of individual situations, we're really happy to do. Please contact usual channels via your Softcat Account Manager, and we will follow up accordingly. I think with that,